This is Fuzzy Road to Health, and I'm Fuzzy D. Today is April 16th, 2024. I've been carnivore for 457 days, or 15 months. In today's video, we'll cover my health update and debunking food myths. Let's get into it. Thanks to a cancellation, I got in 6 weeks early for my MRI, and I got back the results. My C5 and C6 vertebrae both have abnormal bone growth sufficient to press on my spinal cord, which is causing significant numbness and weakness in my right hand. I'm also getting a small amount of numbness in my left hand as well, but no noticeable weakness. My family doctor is so backed up on appointments, it will be over a month before I get in to see him. Who knows how long it'll take to get in to see the surgeon after that. The last time I spoke with my family doctor, he was concerned about permanent nerve damage. I'm considering setting up a GoFundMe page and going for surgery elsewhere. I'm willing to go overseas or to the States, provided I can find a top-flight spinal surgeon with a proven track record. If anyone can help me find the right situation, I would be very grateful. I should have my passport in about a month. And then I've got that trip near the end of the month, so I wouldn't be available to actually go anywhere else until after the first week of June. Since my family doctor told me not to lift weights until after talking to the surgeon, I've been going on walks. It started with going half a block and returning. Now I'm up to a 1.2 kilometer round trip. I'm pushing a little further every couple of days. As of today, I have returned to 1 meal a day to get dropping weight back on track. I've been stuck for a few months now, and I'm determined to have dropped enough weight to be eligible for skin removal surgery by the end of the year. Now let's debunk some food myths. Myth: we need carbohydrates for energy. Fact: carbohydrates are not required for energy. Once the body becomes fat adapted, energy levels will be higher and last throughout the day, instead of energy ebbing and flowing multiple times a day. Fat will be converted directly to ATP, which is the energy source our cells actually use. ATP can be derived from sugar and carbs, but is more sustainable and lasts longer when it comes from meat and fat. Myth: we don't need to exercise to achieve full metabolic health. This is a common misconception that many people make, including many medical professionals. Excess glucose in the body can be eliminated in two ways, either through insulin or through exercise. Constant excess glucose that isn't eliminated within 2 hours will result in insulin resistance, and metabolic disease will be the result. It also results in the deposition of adipose tissue, or fat. The more muscle mass you have, the more glucose can be used up. The harder you work those muscles, the more glucose is used up. Working your muscles strenuously with resistance training or hard work gives you increased glucose absorption and energy recovery for 2 days afterwards. Building muscle can help you recover metabolic equilibrium much faster and in a far healthier manner. Myth: certain parts of the human body need glucose, so we must consume some sugar or carbohydrates to supply that needed glucose. Fact: yes, certain organs need glucose to function properly, but our liver can produce that glucose when needed from dietary or body fat. We do not need external sources of sugar or carbs of any kind. Once the body becomes fat adapted, it will create precisely the amount of glucose your body needs using a process called glycogenesis or glycogenesis, depending on where you're from, and you will have enduring abundant energy. Myth: because artificial sweeteners don't contain sugar, they don't affect our blood sugar levels or metabolic health. Fact: genetically, your body does not recognize artificial sweeteners as such. When your taste buds detect something sweet, it immediately signals your pancreas to produce insulin. This spike of insulin is now looking for sugar to process, and since it finds none, it can actually do more damage to your metabolic health than actual sugar would. This can still contribute to insulin resistance in the body and would still be an issue for diabetics. This can also cause an inflammatory response in the liver, causing damage over time. This will make it more difficult to lose weight and will usually lower energy levels. Studies have also shown a possible link of many artificial sweeteners to cancer. Some of these sweeteners can also interfere with the body's satiety signaling and keep you feeling hungry, thereby causing you to eat more. These sweeteners may also negatively affect gut health in humans. Gut health is a major factor in regulating your immune system. For more information, check out the article linked down in the description from the Science Connected magazine. Now, one other thing I should mention, when you're eating artificial sweeteners, it can trigger that sugar craving. So if you're having trouble staying away from sweets, artificial sweeteners will just keep it going. And even though it doesn't directly affect the addiction center in the brain like real sugar does, it's still going to keep that addiction alive. So it's definitely best to avoid it. Myth: dairy is an animal product and therefore good for carnivores. Fact: dairy products come in many forms. There is, of course, milk, cheese, and butter, but there are many more. Unless fermented, all dairy products contain lactose. Lactose is in fact a type of sugar and will raise your insulin levels just as sugar will. This will have similar effects on metabolic health and can contribute to weight gain. Milk also contains an ingredient that acts like a mild opiate. This increases the desire to drink more milk. This is to encourage the calf to continually consume large quantities of milk to gain weight and size quickly. This will have a similar effect on humans. If you are diabetic, this is a real issue and will contribute to insulin resistance, just like sugar. Some cheeses and butter are fermented sufficiently to eliminate or significantly reduce the level of lactose, making it safer. Kefir and naturally fermented yogurt also fall into this category. Unfortunately for yogurt lovers, most yogurt from the store is not actually fermented and has added sugar and flavors. Myth: eating only meat will cause scurvy. Fact: scurvy happens because grains, sugar, oils, vegetables, processed foods, and fruits cause oxidative damage to the body. Vitamin C is an antioxidant and helps to repair this damage. When eating an all-meat diet, your requirement for vitamin C is substantially reduced, and what small amount you do need is available in the meat you're eating. I've been carnivore since January 16th, 2023, and haven't had scurvy or any other vitamin deficiency I'm aware of, with the possible exception of vitamin D because I don't get a lot of sunlight. Myth: coffee and tea are safe for carnivores. Fact: although there can be some benefits from very small amounts of caffeine, the risks usually outweigh the benefits. Larger amounts of caffeine can cause confusion. Too much caffeine can overstimulate the brain, leading to confusion. Headaches. Too much caffeine or withdrawal from caffeine can cause headaches. Irritability. Withdrawal from caffeine can also cause irritability. Rapid heartbeat. Caffeine can cause an elevated heart rate, which can lead to arrhythmia. Heartburn. Acidity in certain caffeine products can cause heartburn. Muscle aches. This is another sign of caffeine withdrawal. Diarrhea. Too much caffeine can cause diarrhea. Nausea and vomiting. Too much caffeine can cause these symptoms. Fertility issues. If you're trying to get pregnant, you need to restrict caffeine to less than 200 milligrams a day, basically a 12-ounce regular coffee. Pregnancy issues. Too much caffeine can cause developmental issues or even trigger a miscarriage. The long-term use of caffeine may cause bladder instability. Caffeine can temporarily raise your blood pressure, especially if consumed before heavy exertion or taken at night. Caffeine can give you the jitters and can exacerbate anxiety disorder or issues sleeping. Excess caffeine interferes with the absorption of calcium, which can cause your bones to thin and contribute to osteoporosis. For more information, check out the article from healthline.com linked in the description below. Myth. Spices are fine for carnivores. Fact. Although small amounts of some spices probably won't hurt the average person, those suffering from underlying health issues like diabetes, metabolic dysfunction, or some autoimmune diseases, spices can be an issue. All plant-based seasonings contain carbohydrates, which get broken down into sugar. Many seasonings come from nightshade plants. Most red spices are nightshades. Nightshade plants are inflammatory and will trigger a flare in many autoimmune diseases like arthritis, eczema, psoriasis, and seborrhea. You can find a ton of great information, research, book recommendations, and merch, etc. on my website. Take a moment and check it out at fuzzyroadtohealth.com. Thank you for tuning in to my latest update. Without you, this channel would not exist, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to share my health journey with you and share what I have learned. If you feel I've earned it, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the new videos as they come out. I'll see you on the next one.